Hey Sam, welcome to When Spirit Talks.
Hey, thank you very much, Stephanie. It's a real pleasure to be here.
I am really looking forward to chatting because I know you are so into the Akashic Records. I love the Akashic Records and I love hearing different perspectives. So I'm really excited to kind of dive in.
Mhm.
Let's start by learning about your story and like what led you to become an Akashic Records reader.
Wow. Well, obviously, you go through a spiritual awakening and you realize that you are a part of absolutely everything. And there's sort of levels to that, I guess. And where I was, I'd had my amazing sort of like expansive experience, I guess. But I was still sort of seeing myself as maybe this sort of like small, sort of almost insignificant sort of part of the universe. And I had an Akashic Records reading through my ex-partner, and when we were, um, in that hour, I literally went from seeing myself as something very small and almost insignificant to really everything, and it was a very, probably one of the most profound experiences that I've had on this journey thus far, you know. Yeah, I would say that. And it was an absolutely incredible journey ever since then. And then my Akashic Records teacher,
Mm-hmm.
she is now, who did my reading, she reached out and put a post up, and I was like, oh yeah, I think I'd quite like to do that actually, because I knew of the profound effect that I received from it in my own one. I then now want to do that for other people. So it was like, oh, fantastic. There you go. So I've done the two-part course and I'm literally just getting going with it now. But it's been such a beautiful journey already. All of the readings that I've done for people thus far, you can really see them taking off after that. And that's what happened to me as well. It's like it puts you into a higher level of awareness or whatever. And it was such a profound, yeah, I'm very honored to be able to doing that for other people now. Yeah.
That's amazing. Isn't it funny how like what I find too with people who come into my world and even me, like when I first saw the word Akashic Records, I was like, what the heck is this? Like,
Mhm.
I don't even know what this is. And I
Mhm.
feel like people too, like they hear the word and there's some part of their soul that's like resonating with the frequency of the Akashic Records. And that is what draws people to like want to learn more, want to get a reading, want to learn how to do it themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I always found that interesting because I feel like spirit will always like throw things in our like immediate environment so that we kind of like notice and then like see if we actually pick up on it and like take action to it. And then when we do, it's like amazing what we uncover.
Yeah, totally. It sort of opens the door, doesn't it? And it allows you to see inside slightly, and you're just like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
hey, look through here." That's it. And it was just like, "Wow, blooming it." We open it a bit for, "Whoa, blooming it, look in here." That's the beauty of it as well. Yeah, I see that, and it is you're never in the wrong place, or whatever happens in front of you, it's always happening for a reason, isn't it?
Mm.
So you when you make moves on those things, and then it really starts to take traction, and you start to roll and get bigger in your expansiveness, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets bigger. And I feel like the more you go into the records, the more you uncover and
Mm.
the quicker and easier it is to pick up on things.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to listen to your intuition as well. That's it. It's like it's very interesting because I'm in a group with a lot of the other students as well, and so many people are going through the same things. They're all going like, "Oh, I don't know if this is real," or my ego mind came in loads there, and it's like, but it's beautiful that journey because not only are you learning to see inside a different dimension that you didn't know was there before, but you're also uncovering your own truths in that as well. And I really like the aspect of when I'm going into somebody's records, something will happen in the morning or something will happen, or the day before, almost serendipitously. And you're like, that's strange how that's coming up. And it's like now I'm almost going, maybe that's for the person who's coming. So the universe is constantly showing you these beautiful signs all the time that you just think are. Well, now, when you start keying into it, you can almost recognize now. You're like, oh, I think that could possibly be the thing, isn't it? And then it comes up in their energy or whatever it is. Yeah, it's fascinating, and it's not something that anybody who's maybe not aware of their own divinity, I guess, would be like, nah, that's a load of rubbish. It all just happens by coincidence, isn't it? But
Hmm.
you realize that everything happens for a reason. There's a real beauty in that as well. Yeah.
Hmm. You touched on a really important thing right there when you were talking about tuning into your intuition.
Hmm.
What I find with my students who take my Akashic Records class and what you find with your group is all the same. I feel like the thing that blocks us from really tuning in is the doubting of what we're getting, right? Like what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what we're picking up on, and then like intuitively trusting that. So it's always important to really tune into that intuition and start trusting because doubt is like the biggest killer of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a fear, isn't it? And
Hmm.
all of these fears is there's a reason that, it's false evidence appearing real. It's not, it's just, and it's almost there, like my mindset is everything's there to help you. If you view it from that place, it's like whatever's happening in your life, if your life is falling apart. And it's beautiful because before I did the Akashic readings as it is, I actually did calls with people. And when the And now I realize that, whatever's happening in my field is also then happening on the external field as well. So there's other people who are going through very similar things at the same time because of the stars or whatever it is. And it's a really interesting thing to key into because then you are looking for these signs and gifts almost, even if your life is falling apart. I do the opposite. Everybody would go like, "Oh, that's terrible." Whereas I go like, I feel for you, but have you thought about it like this?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went in to do the readings and things, I realized that I was already tapping into this field already. It's like the guides in there, they said to me, how many guinea pig lessons do I have to do? And they just said, just three. And I was like, no, I can't be just three. And they're like, no, just three. It's like you've already been doing this work, Sam, but you've been unaware. You've been calling it something else, these
Mm-hmm.
calls or whatever, but you were already tapping into that and you can already read energy very well. And I was like, oh, cool. All right, nice one. Yeah, I love that then. It's like, there's still a little bit of doubt there, though, It's still a little bit of doubt. But I think that's quite a healthy thing as well. It can be. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, what's the most empowering thing you learned when you went into the records?
How much love there is, how much acceptance there is, how much you are held in every moment of any time when you think you're not. That was the most empowering thing to know that you have this beautiful spiritual team that are you in essence, really helping guide you along. And that's something that I love to share with other people and let them know that as well. And they're always there, but because of free will, you have to allow them or ask them to help you at certain points, but they're always there. They're literally like, come on, we're here, utilize us, it's like, and then you start to build on your intuition and things like that. And all of that doubt and that fear just goes away, and then it'll come back again, but then it'll go away again. It's beautiful. And the more you do it, the more you key into your own inner knowing. And that's the real beauty thing, Yeah.
It is beautiful. And I love how you
Mm.
mentioned right, the guides behind us or our spirit team, whatever technical term you want to use. Um,
Mm.
Whenever I go into the records, the one thing that I feel too, it ties in with what you were saying, is the fact that we are not alone. And it's a beautiful way to kind of tap into our ancestors, our lineage, our past lives. And so it brings up this topic of ancestral gifts and ancestral trauma. What do you think of that?
Hmm.
And how do you help people overcome that? Or what's one thing that people can really start to tune into to notice what might be surrounding them?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you're bringing this up. Um, Really, it's that, whatever has happened in your life, and especially the families that we incarnate into, we've chosen to do that. And our families, our ancestral lineage of whatever's happened has been passed down to us. A lot of people who I speak to, they're having to undo all of the, what's the right term? To undo all of the lack of awareness that their ancestors have had generally, but their families that they've incarnated into, they're not a hindrance. They are your biggest gift. They are your biggest gift because they reflect to you where you're not free. you know. And so in doing that and being highly sensitive, as you know, most of the people who I speak to are, in fact, all of them, you know, it has been for years as well. Seeing and changing the perspective on what has occurred in their life and turn it round to a really empowered state, that for me in my own life, and I can only say on my own life, you know, has been the most empowering thing to realize that everybody's made out of love. Everybody is wanting the best for themselves. It's just maybe they don't have the right awareness, but a lot of the people I speak to, all of the people who I speak to, they have that awareness, you know, and that's the biggest gift that you can take from your ancestors, you know. And it's not all bad, you know, a lot of
Hmm.
it is really, really positive stuff, you know. It's like the balance of, you know, my mother's side of the family compared to my father's side of the family. It was like it was black and white, you know. One was filled full of fear and all the rest of it, and then the other place was where I felt that unconditional love. And learning how to balance that within the energy of yourself is such an amazing talent and gift. And all of our biggest gifts and talents are stored in the traumas that we've endured through life. And so recognizing that and unlocking that perspective is huge for people who have maybe been in such a victim mindset as I was for years. Oh, blame my mum and blame them for this and do all this. No, it's like as soon as you start to turn it around and go, oh, without them being exactly the way that they were, there was no way that I would have gained the awareness in order for me to break these cycles, you know, and live free, you know, in essence. That's it. Yeah.
When you were talking, I got the biggest sign of confirmation right there. And I do feel like maybe that was part of the reason why you were drawn
Mm,
to go into the records and really learn about that, because I feel like that lesson
mm.
was so important on your soul path. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Now I
Yeah.
know you help people like align with their own purpose. And so what stops people from truly being their authentic self and following their purpose? And how do you help them overcome that?
Mm. A lot of the, moreover, it's what I was saying. It's about the changing the perspective
Mm.
because everything is perspective. Somebody can look at, you know, something I don't know that would be determined as a good or a bad thing, that winning the lottery as a good thing, you know, per se. Or so another person could view it and go, you know, it's like, oh, maybe it's a bad thing as well. It's like, well, how could have more money be a bad thing? Well, you know, there's something like 75% of people who all win the lottery end up back where they were because
Yeah.
they don't know how to deal with that money. They don't know how to handle that amount of energy and things. So it's great lessons and things. But where I see the people there, a lot of them are in very misaligned lives. They're not being true to themselves because of this fear of, you know, what society has said is okay to be, or this is the job that you do, or what will the neighbors think if I leave my
Mm.
partner, or well, you know, all of these questions that seem to hold people so they stay stagnant. And a lot of the people who I do the calls with, they're in that stagnant place and they're just wanting that. I think it's all right to do this, isn't it? And you
Mm.
go, well, in my life, I did this and I started to free myself. Sure, it was uncomfortable, but that was, you know, that was the cream, as I call it. That was the amazing thing, was finding the 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 joy in that adversity, and then really you start to relish the hard times rather than, you know, we could all just sit and watch Net. There's nothing wrong with sitting and watching Netflix, but it's like, you know, we could just all sit and watch Netflix all day, and it's like, oh, I just want my life to change and move and shift and things, and it's like, but it doesn't until we make that move. We step out of that regimented view of life within our own lives, and we start to take risks. Really, that's it. And like, I always still catch myself because I always go, "Oh yeah, take care, everybody," you know, or like, and I'll go, "No, no, hang on a minute, no, take risks," you know. It's like, take risks, everybody, like because that's where you'll find yourself in those, you know. But it's really scary because the ego likes comfort, it likes safety, it likes that regular feeling. And actually, when you start to step out of that, that's when life gets interesting. And the thing that everybody's scared of is the thing that they're really looking for, you know. And I only know that because in my life, and I still go through this in
Yeah.
times now, you know, but that relatability is the big thing. People find it very comforting to speak to me because I will just lay all of my life out onto the line and I will say, well, this happens to me at that point, you know, and I know what it's like. It's scary, isn't it? But then I speak to them a couple of months down the line, they were like, "Oh, I did it," you know, and it's like yeah, I did it, and it was like fantastic. So it's that relatability, really, I feel, because I balance that in the Akashic. I see the things, and then I can always relate it to myself because I can't, you can never tell anybody what to do. It's up to their own free
Mhm.
will to do it. But just having that, yeah, I know it's scary, isn't it? It's really terrifying at times, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, the fear stops us a lot. And it's funny because when you were talking, it brought me back to like myself when I
Hmm.
started my Instagram page. Like, when was that? 2020, I think. Um, and I started it and I wanted to be like anonymous in a sense. So I had my legal business that I created in 2021. So I used that name as my handle. I
Hmm.
didn't have my name anywhere. Like
Hmm.
basically I wanted my business name on there so I could be like anonymous. Like everyone could see my business name. No one knew who I was.
Yeah.
And like fast forward little by little, right, I came out with this book and on the book, obviously I had my name on there. So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like it was so scary to do that because it's
People are
like
gonna
yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah.
It's like my whole identity is, and I'm a very like I'm a Scorpio, I'm a very private person, but it
Mhm.
was so scary and like the fact that I put my own like personal story in there was even scarier and it was like exactly how you mentioned that moment where you're like it's scary, but like you'll know in the
Mhm.
moment when you have to jump past the fear and do it.
Mhm.
And I feel like I love how you incorporate your life lessons into your clients because I feel like that's how we really help people is when we tap into like our lessons and our growth.
Mhm.
And then again, just fast forwarding again with my story just recently. So it kept coming to me like even last year I was like I should really, my name is now out there. The whole world knows my name. Should I
Can't go
change?
back.
Yeah, yeah, I
That's
can't go
it.
back. I was like, should I change my handle? Right? Okay. So then I'm like this is so stupid. I'm like it really isn't that big a deal, but for me it was a big deal because I had all of these fears and like how you mentioned the rigid concepts and I was just like no, I've been here so long. I need to just keep it. But it kept coming back, coming back. And I don't think I posted it. At one point, I will post it. But basically, what happened is it kept coming back. It kept coming back. And I had this dream. And in the dream, I was shown something really amazing, which I'll eventually share. But I went into the records to get
Mhm.
clarity on the dream, number one, and number two, how to proceed. Because in the dream, there was something about my identity that came up. I went into the records, got my answer, woke up, got out of bed, changed my handle, the handle that I've had for years and years and years in like an instant. But
Yeah.
it was just how you mentioned it's like that fear of like staying comfortable and staying like safe.
Yeah.
While yes, I am one that like values safety and stability and security, like that is one of my values. But there are some times where, yes, you can have that, but there are other things that are really scary, but don't take away from that sense of safety and stability and security. So,
Mhm.
yes, you might have that fear, but if it's not going to completely destroy you and you have like a little percentage of you that's like, yes, I got to do this. I got to do it, but it's kind of scary. Do
Mhm.
it. I
Yeah.
so I love how you brought that up. That was amazing.
Yeah, and it is something that Susie, my
Hmm.
teacher, she brought into the Akashic reading, and with me, and it's just like I really like you. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
because that relatability shows
Hmm.
that there's other people out there who also go through this as well, and I find that that's it's a big part of what I did in my calls beforehand that were just I always just there was no name for it. It was just like, I'm
Hmm.
not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, you're not broken. I just chat with you. That was it. It's like I'm a reflector in human design as well. So it's like I love being able to just reflect
Hmm.
what I see with people. It's like, and that relatability is huge for people because, there's so many people going through exactly the same things, and I think definitely on my journey, it was kind of like I was an island to myself, or you think you're an island to yourself, don't you? The ego mind tricks you into thinking, oh, I'm the only one going through this. And
Hmm.
it's like, no, everybody's going through this. And however I felt about that, I internalize that and I see that within other people too. And it's like, to literally, I think that's what makes me so good at what I do is because I love literally feeling the energy of it and going, oh yeah, that feels the same. It's like and then everybody else just goes, oh, you see the shoulders drop, and they're just their energy changes completely, and they feel really good because it's like I'm no longer alone, in
Mhm.
this, it's like, and you can't do the work for people, but you can always say, I'm there, I know what it feels like, and that
Mhm.
is it's a big part of it, I think, especially now because I think everybody in the world at the moment, they see themselves as like, oh God, it's like I've just got to get on and do this and do this and do this. But we're at the most incredible point in Earth's history right now. It's really the full uncovering of consciousness, really, and we're expanding and that, everyone's just like, oh, we'll just get on with it, because that's the way that we've been programmed to do. But actually, this is massive. This is a big event, going on Earth right now. And yeah, to give yourself that grace and that ease and just going, it is quite hard at times, It's like, and that's all right, feel it all, but sometimes when you do feel it, you're like, oh, flipping heck. Like this is a lot, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's never really happened before. So give yourself some ease and grace, anybody who's watching this. That's it. Yeah.
Now, this kind of leads me into I was on your feed and I saw your post about putting down the phone and getting bored.
Mm.
Why?
Putting down the phone and getting,
Getting bored.
yeah,
Why do we
yeah,
need to
getting.
get bored?
That's it. I've literally just reloaded Instagram onto my phone and TikTok as well because of
Mhm.
that. Like you find yourself in those moments where you're going, oh, I'm really uncomfortable, or if you can fast, or fasting everything is then you're not being distracted from what's going on, and that's a big part of this. And I notice it within myself, and my parents, and it's constantly phone there, or TV's on, or there's food, or whatever it is, and that is it's keeping us from those. On my journey, I know that I had to fall right down to the lowest part, in order to purge out all of that stuff that was down there. But if we're just keeping ourselves up with distractions and dopamine and all this stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like on occasion, if you let it all go and you do get bored, you find that there's stuff there that's wanting to come up and out, and it's like trapped stuff, and yeah, and it happens a lot easier if you allow it to. That's it,
Mhm.
and it's the allowance of that. But right now in on Earth, there is, phones are there constantly. 20 years ago, it was very different.
Mhm.
So again, all that's changing in a very sort of heightened way right now. But if you can detach from that and just sit and meditate, even for just 15 minutes, let yourself feel into your body and get out of the mind and into here. Because when you do that, you're a lot better placed to be able to deal with other things as well. It's like stuff releases, and it almost happens automatically. It's not
Mhm.
something you have to force doing. And so it's like, now the practice of, at least 15 minutes a day, going out and doing some workout or something like that, get the blood moving, get your energy up and about, and then just sit and you'll
Mhm.
feel your mind coming, oh, you just go, and you can feel your hand going for your foot. No, just sit here, it's like you just sit here with it. No, it's fine, And I've had very big releases over the last 3 days per se from sitting and feeling and speaking out with my partner. It's like I've just been
Mhm.
speaking out all of these different things, and things have come to light. And I feel a lot clearer in my chest. Like, but I've said today, because over the last 3 days, it's been like there have been huge magnitude of things happening in my body energetically. And today I was just like, I just want a chill day today. Okay. I don't really want to do anything, to be honest. Like, I just want to be and eat some food and do something nice. And they're just like, yeah, do that. I've just tapped into the Akashic as well. And they're just like, you've done a lot of work recently, Sam, so just, oh, take that time as well. So it's about balancing it. Middle path. There we go. There's a long way.
Yes.
Middle path. Yeah.
Yeah, balancing. It's okay to do, it's okay to be, it's okay to tune in, but sometimes, yeah, just do what you need to do to just hang in there.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
this is going to lead us into the spirit segment. And I want to know, what is one thing you always include in your daily routine that keeps you grounded and balanced that might help others do the same?
Okay, well, I have a big lump of metal outside, and it's my kettlebell. And for me, grounding is a really big part of it. I also, when I'm not on my partner's, I have a grounding mat, an earthing mat. So
Oh,
when I fall asleep, I intentionally shed loads of energy. And when I'm at home as well, salt baths. just
Mm.
so fast, But chucking the kettlebell about, meditating, grounding, rooting into your root chakra as well, so that you're nice and balanced. And start down there. Always start down there, people. It's like if you're ungrounded, then all of this is out of whack. So always start at the bottom and work the way up. And it's like what we were just saying,
Hmm.
if you're, ungrounded or you're away, whatever it is, always try and start down at the foundation because it's from that place that you build a firm structure within yourself, basically. So meditation, chucking the lump of metal about, and I love saunas as well. Yesterday we went onto the beach and there's like a sauna there, and I did a half an hour stint, and went into the ice cold North
Oh
Sea.
gosh.
Sat in there, hit my head in. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. Went back into the sauna again and just did a few rounds of that. I love saunas. I think they're fantastic. Yeah.
That's
Especially for that
amazing.
mind that goes like, you're ready to get out now, and you're like five more breaths, and it's like you're ready to get out now, and like five more breaths, and it's just you're overruling that ego mind, the doubt, the fear, the oh my God, you're gonna die, aren't you? It's like no,
Yeah.
you're gonna be fine. So yeah, they're my practices that I do in a day, but at the very least, 15-minute chakra meditation. Yeah.
Those are amazing. Amazing. Now, do you have a favorite story regarding your connection to spirit?
Oh,
It's always a fun one.
right. The guides that I have, I have multiple dragon guides around me. And to be honest, like anything that I can watch on TV or any interaction that I have with people, it's not as funny. It's that they can make me laugh
Mm.
beyond anything that I can do out here because it's my own imagination almost, you know what I mean? And like I know me better than, those
Hmm.
dragons as they are, they're incredibly funny and just I can't really say on here what they do and the things that they do, but it's
Hmm.
like you get the gist of it. They're
Yeah.
just ridiculous, in the way that they go about things. And just any interaction that I have with them or anything, that it's like they're doing it now, and it's just like yeah, it's just the humor that they impart into my life, even at points where there could be something really serious there is happening out here,
Mhm.
and they'll just come in and be like, we'll just put a spin on that for you like that, and I'm, oh God, like, can you laugh at that? And it's like, well, yeah, you can laugh at that. So they just remind me to not take life so seriously,
Mm.
consistently. But yeah, as a story goes, I don't know a story. What about you? What's your
Oh my
story?
gosh, there's so many. Let me think. You know what? This one just happened the other day.
Mhm,
I'm trying to think. Did I post it yet?
mhm,
Oh yeah, because this will come out way far from now, so I'll share it. Okay. So this was just the other day, and I was doing Reiki, and right, so I'm on this person's energy, and I'm closing my eyes. I'm actually like tuning back into it. So I'm on them, and I'm at their sacral chakra, and I'm seeing a memory come up of them with their father
mhm,
from like when they were like really tiny, like newborn to three potentially, right? Where the father is like laughing and smiling. So, okay, so I pick that up and moving on, then I see these light bulbs that are just bright breaking, right? These lights are just breaking. I see all of this electrical stuff, like electrical lights all over, mechanical, but it's anything with lights. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I mentioned that. And it was interesting because as soon as I got to this person's crown, all I felt was a woman in spirit coming through. So I can connect with departed loved ones. And I knew it was a departed loved one. I knew it wasn't a spirit guide because I can tell the difference.
mhm.
And I'm like, this woman named Martha is coming through. And I almost didn't say it, but it was so clear to me that I was like, I'm just gonna say it. Right? Because it's always weird when you get a name because sometimes we might not hear the name correctly or it might not resonate. So with names, I tend to be very careful unless it's like really clear. And this was
Yeah,
like clear. So I'm like, did you ever know anyone named Martha? And the look on their face was just like
yeah.
pale, like,
You've
right? The
got to speak
blood.
that out to them, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
So they're like, Oh, and I'm getting chills now. My great grandma's name was Martha on
Mhm.
the father's side.
Mhm.
Getting more confirmation, right? So I'm like, we're cycling through. Turns out she was married to an electrician. So
Uh-huh.
all of these
Okay,
things, it's like
beautiful.
the father's memory plus the lights with the electric. And I kept saying, I kept using the word electrical. Like I wasn't really using the word lights, even though it was like lights all over. It was like electrical. So yeah. And it was just this like crazy experience because this person isn't really not that they're not open to spirituality, but they don't see things in that way. They're more like scientific, rational, like,
Yeah,
if
logical
there's
mind.
evidence, yes.
Mhm.
So it was just like wild. And it was funny too, because there's something else that's tagged into this. So they looked up information on this great grandma so
Mhm.
that they can just get more information because it came up and it was so relevant for them. Turns out the grandmother's middle name was the same middle name as their sister who just had a baby, whose middle name was also the same. So
No,
a
it's
few
like
days, it was
come back
all full
in.
circle.
Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful.
And it was funny because I was in the shower and in that moment, I was like, oh, I bet you the new baby's name is middle name is Marie, right?
Mhm.
And then when we found out that night that so now the baby's great great grandma's middle
Mhm.
name was Marie, no one knew. It was just like exactly everything was full circle. So I have tons of stories. That was a really long-winded one, but
Yeah,
that was the most recent.
that's beautiful. It's jogged something within my memory as
Yeah.
well. My daughter, she's called Jessie, and um, she said something strange one day. Okay, she said, "Oh, Nana Moon, Nana Moon," like this. Nobody had mentioned Nana Moon to her basically, and Nana Moon was my ex-partner's grandma's grandma,
Mm.
basically.
Hmm.
Okay. So, and we were like, huh, that's strange, isn't it? And I was getting all these body nudges and taps and things about this. And my ex-partner rang me one day and was just like, have you ever mentioned to Jessie about like a grandma, like, on my side of the family? I was like, no, not at all. And she was just like, it's really strange today because she said something. She said Nana Moon. And then I checked with mum and she'd not mentioned anything either. And so we are thinking that Jessie is the reincarnated um, of Lou's Nan, basically. She died
Mm.
7 years ago, something like that, and Jessie was born 3 years ago.
Wow.
And it was really lovely because um, now my ex-partner, we weren't so much, on parallels with our connection to spirit, basically. And so now the universe is almost going, hey, look,
Mm.
and it's a real beautiful sort of interaction. And there's been loads of other things as well, with the stuff that she still calls them coincidences, but
Yeah.
that's it. It's not quite there with the
Yeah.
synchronicities and things yet, but it's really nice to see all this unfolding, and that's beautiful that sort of spurred that in. Yeah,
Oh,
very,
I love that. It's always funny how, like, yeah, I feel like topics come up because it always is somehow relevant and like brings about like some
yeah,
kind of, I don't know, like inspirational thought or like
yeah,
tuning
totally.
into again that reminder that like spirit
Yeah,
is around us. Ah, I love it. Now,
yeah.
what is one final piece of advice you have for listeners trying to improve their spiritual well-being?
The more truth that I uncovered within myself, the more spirit connected with me, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the more we can bring awareness to our inner world, the more we start to understand everything else as well. And it's like then you start to make that bridge between, as above, so below. It's literally one of my favorite sayings. And the truth of anything will set you free. And it will also not only make you free, but that freedom is is the expanded state. I see.
Mm-hmm.
But as much truth as we can embody within ourselves, the more spirit will connect with us, basically. That's what I notice. Um, yeah, I'll keep it short at that, really. The truth will set
Perfect.
you free. The truth will set you free. Yeah.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
where can our listeners go to learn more about you?
You can go to my website that I'm currently building,
Hmm.
which is Samuel Akashic. I have to check that one. I don't know. But if you go to Samuel underscore Kelsey or Medicine Man Sam on TikTok or Samuel underscore Kelsey, you will find me somewhere. Um, and yeah, that's how we can connect. And yeah, send me a message. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now, before we go, I pulled your card to
Ace, love it.
represent you.
I was
I'm
looking at my
excited.
cards before. I was going like, "Oh, would it be all right if I pulled the card for you?" It's like, yeah, it's brilliant. You're gonna do it for me. Fantastic.
Are you ready?
Hmm.
Okay, so you got the Six of Cups, which in this card, like in this card, if you're listening and not watching, it's like a beautiful there are beautiful glasses filled with this like pretty pink liquid. And as soon as I pulled this, what I saw was you, like each glass with that pink liquid is a different Akashic record. And so like you are going back in time. It's all about like nostalgia and like really tuning into that like energy. So like you going back into each record, whether it's for you or your clients, and really tapping into what they need to know to heal the past in order to like make a better future.
Mm.
So, loved it.
Beautiful. That really resonates because it seems a theme of, obviously certain readers are attractive to certain souls, isn't it?
Hmm.
And it's like it's the one thing God never gives us anything we're not ready for almost. And everybody who I speak to, it's like there's some nugget of wisdom that is within my own path that relates to what I'm seeing and getting from the Akashic as well. And it's all about moving forward. That's
Hmm.
it. Yeah, all about moving forward. So, oh, thank you for that. That's really
You're welcome.
appreciated.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to leave a message for everyone else too. So
Mhm.
your Six of Cups message and what I really tuned into. So there's so many different ways to read this, but what I saw and how I'm tuning into Sam's message about changing perspectives and like really tuning into that and seeing things in new ways. Your message is to kind of dive into a childhood memory
Mhm.
that was positive or neutral and really tune into that memory and see a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
Look at that memory in a different light. So, and I'm getting confirmation there. So, yeah, that's your message for today. Um, Lovely. Oh, amazing. Now, Sam, I'm so happy that you came on. It was so nice to connect.
Mhm.
I meant to tell you this before and then I forget because like things go
We all
really
do.
quick.
That's it. Yeah.
Your energy is so like open is what I really feel. Like you have like this beautiful open energy and that's why I think yeah, clients are like drawn to you just so they can really be like seen and held and heard.
Mm.
But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that
You're
really resonates.
welcome.
A lot of the feedback. Funnily enough, I just watched a feedback call, a testimonial call, from one of the clients, who I didn't do Akashic readings with, but it
Hmm.
was like, one of my clients, and he said
Hmm.
exactly that. Your openness has helped me to open myself. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. The word open. I'm like, I see you, right? I'm like
yeah,
reading your energy, and all I see is like openness.
yeah,
So
that's it.
amazing. Well, it was
Open.
so
It's
nice.
good because openness is the best term for God, the divine, the universe that I've found.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Ah, I'm so excited. I'm feeling very uplifted. So
Yeah. Me too. Thank you very much. Yeah, really
you're welcome.
enjoyed.
Thanks for coming on.